Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Swift New Live broadcast of the WTRL Team Time Trial Platinum League. Nathan Guerra here, Dave Towle next to me, and we are out on a brand new course. We're on Knickerbocker this week for one lap, one semi-monstrous climb. Interesting enough, in pre-productions, Martin was saying, "Oh, it's not so bad." I'd be interested to see if he got on the bike and thought it was not so bad. But it's a tough climb. I think in the middle of it all, we'll be covering the Mocha/Vienna for the men and the women respectively today. And I want to take a quick look at the course here, Dave. I think it's definitely got a little bit of a punch in the teeth right in the middle of it.
Yeah, it starts off nice and easy, doesn't it? As you roll for the first couple of K, but then Harlem Hill, throughout the course, you're going to climb 344 meters. So it's for a team time trial course. I would say that this is pretty close to as technical as they get. You're going to have to be paying attention even on the downhill segments, like after the KOM. It kind of requires a few well-timed kicks. You can see them there, almost like a waterfall. You see a little pool, a little waterfall pool. So this is going to require some top-level team time trial skills to be successful out in New York. So I like it. I think this is, so this to me, Nathan, hits the other edge of this extreme, right? If you go from Tempest Fugit, that's going to be completely flat. This is the way, if you wanted to have a technical time trial, this is the kind of course that I like to see.
Yeah, definitely very technical when it comes to making sure that your team is all staying together over the top of each one of those climbs. There's always that really fine line of do you let people go or not? When it does come to the steeper sections of a climb, will the extra bodies on the other side snowball, give you some extra reprieve as well? It is a short course, being only 22K, 22.9K. I think the reality of maybe some people burning matches up front, up to 8 riders. So I think as far as what kind of battle plan you bring here, burning a lot of matches up front of the riders who might not be your best climbers, and then jumping over the top of that climb as best you can and rolling in with 4 to 5 might be a really good way to go. Just full on sprints up front from people that are, not sprints, but you know what I mean. Well over threshold. Sure. Pulling the entire crowd around. They know they might not be able to make it over the climb at the set watt per kilogram that everybody's thinking about. It's like, all right, well, let's burn these matches and then see what's left in the book as they get over the top of the climb.
Yeah, a good way to put it, Nathan, I completely agree with you. If you're coming over, let's even say the first significant climb, Harlem Hill, if you're coming over the top of that, 3-4 riders and a gap back to some others, I think that's going to be a real lesson in that the top couple climbers on your team, let's say you're starting with 8 would be obviously ideal, but let's even say with 6 riders, you have really got to gauge your effort out here because you're going to need these riders for a couple significant segments of the course later if you want to have a good time. So the advantage that you get by putting a couple seconds on them and putting them in trouble and having them chase back and then doing it again in the next series of climbs is going to be far outweighed by how much you wish you had those 2 or 3 bodies to roll through where you're really trying to make up some time, especially like after that KOM. So it's going to be a real lesson in how you run a squad here. Our director sportives will have a real challenge. That's a key role on a day like today. No doubt about it. As you said, Nathan, it's more or less 23K, but you can't take your eye off the prize at any point out here. So yeah, I mean, 344 meters, it's going to be a long time in the saddle when you talk about it as the distance 23K. So it's going to be, it'll be interesting, Nathan. The fastest times that we see out here today it's our first ever time out racing on Knickerbocker in this format.
Go ahead and take a quick look at the 2 poster competition submissions in the middle of the summer. We do have the New York Knickerbocker 117 from TFC Hurricane. They keep on bringing us the looks at the anime here, so good to see them putting submission in. Now, is that actually... Now, wait a second. I feel like that's from Wreck-It Ralph, actually. The course that they're on. I might be incorrect there, but I believe that is one of the courses from the cartoon recent it was Pixar, I believe, right? That made Wreck-It Ralph, and in there they would race in this Candyland type place. I'm pretty sure that that's what that's from, but they put the anime characters in the Wreck-It Ralph scene, is what it looks like to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody in chat, but I think I've solved that puzzle there, if I'm not incorrect. And then the Dirty Chronicle, as always, bringing it in.
So this, yeah, got my vote for sure here. I wanted to send my thoughts out to Pete Butler as well. I know that he just lost his dad this last week, and boy, Nathan, when you become part of this community, you realize there's some really special folks. And on Facebook, I was seeing some pictures of Pete's dad, and just looked like an incredible, incredible human being. So, Pete, our thoughts are with you.
100%, 100% there, and definitely a community as we go through life together in
Isn't
a lot
Pete
of ways
funny?
as well. A lot
Like,
of ways well.
I think Pete's one of the funniest people that I've ever not met, but met, if you know what I mean, through our community. And you can see it comes from his dad for sure. Well, his mom too, not to sell her short, but you can see some people just have that look like, oh my gosh, that would be the coolest person to have living in your neighborhood. I think that was the Butler family for sure. Nathan, really quickly, as we're getting everyone out on course today, Knickerbocker, right? Everyone in America would know the New York Knicks, an NBA team that is, fairly well recognized as they branded well. The Knickerbocker, I myself wasn't even sure where that term comes from, but it makes sense. So New York is early Dutch inhabitants. The Dutch were one of the first nationalities that came into New York, and Knickerbockers were a style of pants, kind of like you'd think a knicker, like just above the knee. You see some golfers wearing that style of pants, and that's where the term comes from. So that is answered.
Interesting.
You
I
are
am looking
wondering
at
no
that
longer.
right now. I'm actually looking at the NBA.
Are you seeing a
Knicks
picture of a
history.
Dutch guy about 250 years ago, maybe?
Yep. That's
Right.
exactly what I'm seeing. Interesting. I had no idea. I actually had no idea. Pretty
I
cool.
was wondering when I was watching Sherpa Dave doing the recon of the course. Such a great job that Dave does, man. Talk about someone whose passion really shines through in his work. I think that's extremely cool. But I was thinking to myself, what does Knickerbocker mean? And I thought it was a sausage. To tell you the truth, that would have been my guess. So, pants.
Wearing your Knicks. I've heard the term there a little bit as well. We're jumping right on into it as the riders from Cryogen Robbins are just getting onto their first go at the roads of New York. They're going to jump onto the glass roads here in just a moment and be up above. This is futuristic New York, 100 years into the future. If you did not know how this was, this course was thought up. And as the riders do take this on, this is going to be their first significant climb out here. And 3.10 watts per kilogram. This is the mochas that we're covering today. If you were unaware, mochas are going to be your 2.5 or less as far as FTP or so. And this is also the first time we've ever done the Knickerbocker course. It's never been done before in the WTRL. So today is going to be all new course records that are going to be set out here today. So brand new course records. And as you can see, Jay Barry here sitting on the back here, 3.6 watts per kilometer. This is what we were talking about early on, is holding on through these sections is going to be extremely important in order to try and keep everybody together and the bodies together. But with the amount of climbing in here, 8.4K in, you halfway through, dropping some people off here may be of an advantage.
Boy, these are the decisions that you have to make that make team time trialing such a challenge here. And also, there's certainly an element here where the dynamic of drafting it's more about pace setting at this point. And you can see it looks like these guys are going to ease up just a little bit, try to bring the team together, and actually almost perfect right now. So not bad, Cryogen. Not bad at all as they come through. That's a steep pitch right there. Is it 12%? Yeah, in team time, I actually thought the highest that we saw out on course was 10%. So that pops up and certainly puts a little bit of sting in the legs, that's for sure. I am really impressed. So this is the Cryogen Robbins that we're looking at here right now. So Nathan, some times are coming in. You can see where we've got our checks set, and it's nice to see this 8K check at 13:23. Very quick for TFC Hurricane, one of the perennial powerhouse squads that we've got here in WTRL. Big shout out to Martin and the team. WTRL continues to roll number 1 117, Nathan. 117 weeks in a row that WTRL's changed the game. And Cryogen has been one of the first and long, well, Cryogen is one of our cornerstone squads out here. So the Robins just sitting at 14 flat there at the check. We'll be looking for some more times to generate here. So Milani, the rider that we're with, Nathan, everything is copacetic right now. This one rider dangling off the front will quickly be brought back into the fold here.
Yeah, Milani. There is one rider right ahead of Milani as well, actually. So there's a little
Oh,
bit of
is there?
separation as Goldweber here is
Oh,
2.7, 2.4 watts per kilogram coming from them. They're
so
going to make their way around the KOM. They're just getting into it right at this moment. And with those 2 seconds, now 6 seconds actually, and Milani here now really starting to press the pace. And this is going to be a mixed team, actually, at 4.5 watts per kilogram on the front. It's going to back off a little bit. Looks look like that crew behind is going to look to shut things down as Ying is going to bring that back within 4 seconds. Look at that. Does that look like 4 seconds, Dave? It can be so deceptive on these climbs, right? 15%, how long it takes to just do a couple of meters up the road. So they're going to weld it back together, it looks like, though.
Well, I mean, that's such a great point, Nathan. The difference of what 1 minute, or even better, a smaller interval, like what 20 seconds look like. 20 seconds when you're on the flat moving at 30 miles an hour is a significant amount of distance. But when you're 20 seconds behind someone on, like yesterday, or today even, but yesterday, that final climb that they were on, it looked like you were, as you were watching the leaders, it looked like you were staring down a cliff. And they were talking about it being 12%. Well, that's only going to be, 50 meters at that point when it's that steep going up straight up the side of a mountain, which you basically are right now. Look at the pitch here, Nathan, at 10%. It was just at 11. So Knickerbocker, I kind of think it's like a stand-up comedian trying out material. We're at that time of the year where the WTRL crew, Martin, gets to look at some courses and say, I wonder how this will be. It's a team time trial course. And I've wondered myself. I think that this is going to become quite popular for some of the riders out there.
Looking at the top team right now, currently at 8 kilometers in, TFC Hurricane setting a 13:23. Engulf there with the 13:44 being chased by the Robins. We were just looking at the first team out on course. 14:12 from Evo Flux Jaffa. Evo Flux Jaffa actually gave us a little bit of information on them. We'll try and bring on some of that in here. And it's going to be the load shutters we're still waiting for that were the 5th out on course. The fastest, as usual, lately, have been those Sumatran rhinos, though. So we'll see if they can, but the rhinos, we noticed, remember, Dave, that the rhinos, they seem to be really fast on the flatter courses. I wonder if they're going to struggle at all here on the climber.
This will tell a lot, won't it, about the range that they have. As a matter of fact, I am really looking forward to finding out the answer to that question. 13:23 remains the fastest time from the mighty, mighty Hurricanes. But look at this, the load shedders, 13:41, 3 seconds quicker than Engulf at that 8K check. So, yeah, Nathan, this is going to be 15% right here as we're looking at the TFC Hurricane team, our fastest team at that check. We'll see what Z-Sun R can do, the Nebula edition, Valhalla, Dragvanville, excuse me, and the Sumatran Rhinos. So, Nathan, what if we're looking at TFC Hurricane right here? I'm wondering what's going on as far as starters for them. Are they it looks like they started with 5 out here. So you really can't afford to play around too much, can you? Yeah, they're all right there. Not so bad.
3 seconds or so, but again, now Andy Bradford, good to see Bendridge out here as usual. He's looks like 4th man over the top here. If Bradley can get back on terms, it does look like, as you said, they did start with 5 riders, almost all together. A little bit of push from Thomas. I think Thomas is kind of baiting them out. Like, come on, let's go here, boys. We need to get back up over the top here. Is it a little bit of motivation, or is it kind of like, demoralizing? I'm not sure which one it is.
Let me put it to you this way, Nathan. You're a dad, right? And I'm sure that your kids, there's some differences, and not every kid responds to the same. You know what I mean here? Some you need to encourage with positivity. Others you can, kind of give them a sharp word that helps motivate them. So you never really know. here. But ultimately, for Thomas, I think that the net result here is going to be you're going to be waiting for these guys one way or another. And I you know, I think he's backing off right now, just realizing, yeah, I'll just slide back here because, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. If you know the guys well, you can probably just everyone shrugs it off. But I think it's probably a little nicer to sit back in the position that he's moved back to perfectly there while we were talking.
Yeah, it does look like it's all coming back together. So good to see that TFC are getting it together here. Now it's going to be in golf. Now the next one's out on course. We'll be able to see, and they're sitting fifth place at a 1344 currently, 16% gradient for them. Going to level out here a little bit in just a moment. Does look like they've lost a little bit of time though to the Hurricanes at that 1323 versus 1344. So I do think it's really going to go out though pretty good as Hurricanes. I think are having a solid ride out here today.
Oh, wow. Nathan, the Rhinos right there. Boom. 13:28, 5 seconds behind TFC Hurricane. We got ourselves a monster battle going on here. So TFC Hurricane coming through. We won't be that far off from starting to see these 10K checks coming in, but there you go. 13:23 updated with a 13:28 from the RR Sumatran Rhinos. It's going to be a Nebula from Z Sun R. They're pretty close, Nathan, 13:39. And only 2 seconds behind them are the load shedders here. So, oh, wow. And that has Engulf 3 seconds behind them, another 3 seconds back to Valhalla. So we've got a real battle going on. And I think it's worth noting this is a tough 23K of racing. It's a little under 23K, 22.9. But a lot of things could change, Nathan, from that last check to the finish. Let's be honest here. A few seconds, you are not safe at all.
Yeah, and we'll wait and see because the downhill I think is going to change a lot of things here. Anybody there's a lot of time that can be gained actually on through that downhill, and how much energy was expended over the top of this climb to get a solid time in the first 10K might come back to bite some of these teams because you still
Agreed.
have a solid 12K to go or so after you get over the top here. There's lots of landscape left to work with, and anybody who's gone way too hard over the top of here, they're not going to have anything left. Those who have tempered their effort a little bit, I think that we might see something special from them. And look at Evo Jaffa coming on. Heath here now, along with Groundwater here. They are catching Engulf quickly. Garv laying Baron. This is a solid move here by them.
Boy, it is so steep through here that you can see when you blow up, it is absolutely brutal as the teams look like ants crawling up a wall at this point. This is a real struggle to fight through here. And I am really, really impressed by what we're seeing from Evo. Again, none of the teams are starting with the full cadre of 8 riders. Most of them, it looks like, really 5, except for CryoGen Robbins. They're starting with 7, so there's not a lot of wiggle room out here. You've got to everyone needs to get through this pinch point on the race, and looks like Evo's doing a good job of keeping folks together. Just now starts to level out a little bit. Finally, some reprieve.
Now, I want to point out here, they have almost caught Engulf just a moment ago. I get the feeling that they saved a lot for this climb because at that 8K, they were way behind the markers. I mean, well, way behind, 45 seconds or so.
Yeah, they
I get the feeling that I get the feeling they attacked this climb, and that was their tactic was to just go full gas at the climb, is what it seems like to me, because they seem to have made up a lot of time on Ingolf, who were a solid 30 seconds up from them. So we'll have to wait and see here, but it looks like something, is a little different on this climb versus what we saw on the initial flats of the course.
I would agree, Nathan. I'm wondering if maybe they had a couple things happen, like a little bit of a struggle in the start getting organized, but once they did, you're right, that was an exceptional sector of riding for them. That's going to change a lot when we look at how things look here at that second check. And here we go. TFC Hurricane is in with a 21:53, remembering that they were one of the early teams to start, but their time held up as the fastest. Not even the Rhinos were able to better them at that 8K check. So there you go. 21-53, although Cryogen Robbins look like they're coming out strong. Nathan, again, this one's going to be a back and forth battle here. Some teams are going to have some good moments. You're going to struggle through different sectors here, and it really is trying to maximize the good times and minimize the bad out here on this Knickerbocker course. I love it. This is really throwing everything and the kitchen sink at our teams.
Yeah, we do have some information that Evo sent on over for us. Evo Jaffa. It's great to see all of the participation in our features when we do send those out. If you want to get featured by by WTRL in the Platinum League, you do make the Platinum League. There is an email that does go out if you have made Platinum, and respond to that, and you will get some information on what to fill out so that we can get everybody knowing who the stories behind the avatars are. So we are looking at Garv here. This is going to be Mike Garvin. He's never raced before this year, actually, but now loving the warmth and ethos of racing with the Evo CC family. Thursday night TTTs are something special for him. And we talked a lot about that, Dave, how this has become very much a part of people's community life, which is so interesting to me that, this online community has turned into somebody's weekly rituals in a lot of ways, a tradition for them. And that people really grab onto that with the people that they've met here and the way that it betters their lives. So cool to see.
Yeah, it's Nathan, I saw that you were probably looped in the communication as well, but perfect example was this weekend. We met yet another really interesting rider, Alessia Palemi, the Drexel University professor. And it was just just came out of the woodwork on me this weekend. And another super interesting bike racer that's going to have a tremendous amount of fun. And I think, Nathan, she's going to find exactly what you said. She's going to link up with a group of women or a mixed group, either way, and get involved. I was encouraging her to get involved with WTRL. Try doing these team time trials, and she'll see exactly what you were talking about. She'll become part of a sub community in the community, and that'll be her group that she gets to really, really enjoy doing this with. It's extremely cool. Here's a good team that is put together a fantastic ride out here today. 21:51 and golf, the fastest time now.
I gotta bring this in here. This guy, Mike Garvin, he's been struck by lightning while trekking in Nepal 30 years ago. True story. Was trekking in Nepal in 1991. Stopped for a day and were staying in a small tin hut overnight. Wow. They sat outside the hut when there was this almighty bang. The lightning struck the hut and then found its way to earth through me. Wow. Threw him 10 meters forward, charred, and blew apart some of his clothes and left me with some deep burns on his torso and a totally white and immobilized leg. Oh my gosh, which fortunately recovered shortly after. Being miles away from any major town, we had to send someone to find a Jeep capable of reaching us. That took quite a while. Fortunately for me, one of the people I was trekking with was a nurse, and she had quite an array of medication with her. Kept me comfortable until we reached the hospital in Darjeeling about 24 hours later. I was in there for 3 weeks, but made a good recovery. And now we know where all the wattage from Mike Garvin's coming from. Wow, Garv. For Evo Jaffa, he is still hammering. This is lightning. We're literally looking at lightning right now with Mike Garvin. That is an amazing story.
No kidding. Well, when you talk about the man behind the avatar, that one will stay with me.
Yeah, right? I'm in Nepal in a hut right now. Getting some extra wattage is what's going on.
Yeah. And how about that nurse, too?
We need to get him on here now. I want him on here to tell the story. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, we need to get further behind that avatar for sure. Well, look at this, Nathan. The Sumatran rhinos are saying we didn't need to be hit by lightning to be this fast. We're the rhinos. And a 21:16. Ooh la la. That remains the fastest time by quite a bit. You do not want to hit a rhino with lightning, that's for sure, because they're already fast enough. 21:16. It's going to be quicker than Engulf there at 21:51. They're only 2 seconds faster than TFC Hurricane, who had our fastest time at Split 1. So they're slotting in with the third fastest time right now. Then a bit of a gap back to Z-Sonar Nebula. Sitting in fourth, your top five sees Cryogen Robbins still there with the 22:11, but that's a 1 second difference there. The Robbins and Nebula are going to be racing their hearts out now, and they got to worry about the load shedders, Nathan, at 22:21. They're sitting right there in sixth. Valhalla, out 22:35, and then rounding out for our Mochas. Really love being in with the Mochas today. Evo Flux Jaffa 23:30. And didn't Martin tell us, Nathan, that Jaffa was a cake?
That's a good question. I think it was.
I
I think it
have to
is.
think so. Martin has been going above and beyond with not only being the mastermind at WTRL, but also really connecting with all of these teams out here. And plus, he's British, so he usually knows a lot more than us.
I don't know what you're suggesting there, but
well, okay, especially with these food references. Martin,
I don't know what you're suggesting there either. Oh man, I think are we still? Keep digging, Dave. Keep digging.
Well, I'm being confirmed by from Calgary, the world headquarters of WTRL.
Oh,
Jaffa
you're right.
Cakes.
Jaffa Cakes. The Jaffa Cakes.
Biscuit
It's also
sized
slang for a
cakes.
wasp. So maybe you're not digging anything. Maybe you're 100% right. Looking through our info here, this is going to be Mike Heath. He's 48, prefers downhills kind of racer due to being built like a pork pie. Been on Zwift for a long time, since before the radio tower turned up. That is a long time. New to the Evo family, so glad I found such a welcoming, well-organized team. His in-real-life experience is he did a late jog in 10 days solo unsupported in 2018. Loves the mountains. Ridden length of Pyrenees twice. Third planned this August. Done Raid Alpine and L'Etape the Tour as well. So lots of in-real-life experience from Mike Heath, who's hammering away at 1.9 watts, become 134 for the Evo Jaffas right now.
I saw they're doing a L'Etape de Tour in San Antonio, Texas, of all places. A super interesting venue. I believe that was for 2022. But those are no joke. You ride a Tour de France stage with all of the support. And, I mean, it really is. I don't know that there's, in cycling, there's some incredible fondos out there. But I don't know that anything quite has that full L'Etape de Tour experience. They always replicate one stage of the tour, but they also, obviously, there's no stage of the tour in San Antonio, Texas, so they find really cool routes to ride as well. So, good on you.
Steven Groundwater here, 47, loved acting as a sweeper for Evo Flux. Looks like he's a little better than a sweeper at this moment, but rides and the fun of the team on the TTT. Bigger rider, so offer plenty of draft in the downhills. Turned to cycle when realized the body was not up to football anymore. And now becomes extremely addicted to Zwift and racing. Always love to hear that. Long-term goal is to lose enough weight to fit into the real-life Evo kit. Biggest achievement in cycling so far is setting a target of 4,800 kilometers for 2021, which would be by far the most miles, KMs, in a year, and reaching the target in June. He's a 47-year-old accountant, married to 4 kids who all like to remind him how bad I look in Liker, especially the missus. Oh, my gosh. Full-on mammal happening here, it sounds like, with Groundwater. Great to have Steven Groundwater also helping us out with some of the features out here today.
All right. Well, Team Evo that we're looking at, there's Garv again. He's really sticking on that wheel. 5 riders together. It's really nice work at this point. Getting some splits coming in. Crouch and Robbins with a 31.18 TFC Hurricane. Again, they went out early and with authority, still sitting on a 30.39 there. At our final check before the finish, we're estimating the finish right up against 23K out here today. We'll see what that time is from Sumatran Rhinos. They're expecting it to be very, very quick. They've been riding out of their minds today. We'll see if they continue, because, as we said, a lot of things could change out here, Nathan. If you set a fast schedule and have been able to maintain that or even go a little better than that, you might find yourself paying a price here as well. I mean, it's 33 minutes of racing right now, but they've still got another, let's call it 6.5K of racing in front of them here, talking about Evo here, and the rider Barron that we're in with. Another one of the stars here on Team Evo.
Yeah, Paul Barron, he's 58 years old, now only cycling, having been into triathlon for 10 years prior to this, up to a half Ironman, actually, he's done before. Decided at 43 that I did not want to be fat anymore, he said. Over a couple of years, came from 130 kilograms to 90 kilograms and raced as low as 84. Wow. That is a huge accomplishment. He's an ex-football and cricket player. Also play a bit of golf. Biggest bike ride was 230 kilometers. Dragon ride on a very hot day. Just to enjoy exercise. Too old to have ambition. Well, that's pretty ambitious though. 230K. The longest ride I'd ever done was a Zwift ride at 260. I think. Well, not the. Yeah, about that. I mean, indoor ride there, but I mean that's 230 is no joke. That's nothing to wink at.
No. You know, Nathan, I wanted to point out something about this team that I really appreciate. We've talked about this. So 117 WTRL World Tactical Racing League events. Of this weekly team time trial. And I've mentioned before that there are some teams that race a little differently as far as they're not always going for the fastest time or the best result. For them, the result is much like what Evo does, having a team ethos, like having fun and always aiming to finish together with the goal being making the best use of the riders in the squad. And that's different than trying to get the best time. It's trying to get the best out of everyone, and sort of that the high tide raises all boats, right? By keeping these riders with us and working together, we ultimately all get better as a group. So I think you can appreciate what I'm picking up what I'm putting down, as they say. Not every team starts the race with the same goal set. And I love what these guys are about.
Good, great point there. Actually, great point. They're being pretty competitive though here. I mean, they're not messing around.
I mean, that being said, these guys are monsters.
Yeah, they definitely are, and you can tell the ethos though. They keep talking about that. Really speaks to what has been put together here by Evo. That seems to be the common thread that you're seeing in this background about the team, right?
Yeah.
The Flux teams are lower end of the Evo teams, offers racing for new riders, and those looking to develop through the ranks or just coming back to racing from what we're seeing here in the info provided. Have progressed several riders from D to C now. They're saying that 5 riders similar levels. Team Ethos is following the wider Evo goals and all about having fun. To that end, we always aim to finish together with the goal of being to make the best use of the riders in the squad. We may not be the fastest, but there's nothing stopping us riding well as a team. Exactly what you're saying there. And their favorite pizza, see the Flux Hawaiian name, pineapple is a regular and controversial topic in the Evo Flux rides. I've got to say, pineapple on pizza 100%. So I'm with you.
You have made that very clear. I wanted to shout out Dylan, who you've got on screen right now. I'm not sure where Dylan comes in on the pineapple on pizza. I have to think that he's a rational and sane human being and doesn't like it. But that being said, he wanted to give a shout out, and as do we, to their teammate Jez, who got COVID last week, Nathan. So he is not racing this week, but obviously in our thoughts, and I'm hearing that he's doing fine. So
good to hear. Good to hear on that. I'm
that
glad
is
the
good to
recovery's
hear.
There. Yeah.
So Dylan is an ex-rower in life. I have one of the guests coming up on the World of Zwift in our Dave Towle Meets series is Nadia Gantova, who is a rower at University of British Columbia. We got to check out some cool rowing stuff with her. My respect for rowers has gone up significantly. Actually,
lungs on a bike. Lungs on a bike from Kate Bates. That's what I'm hearing whenever I hear of the rowers coming on over. So great to see there. I'm also seeing he's a longtime cyclist as well, love riding bikes, but he does road, MTB, cyclocross. Yeah. 3 years on Zwift. I mean, that's he's got a lot going on here when it comes to the world of cycling too.
Yeah, I would have to say a well-rounded life going on. That's for sure. So that's Dylan Lang that we're talking about. This is the Evo team, Evo Flux Jaffa, also known as the Sweet Cakes. And they are having a solid ride, the whole team here together. But it looks like, Nathan, we are going to find, let's move over here because the Sumatra
Shutters, perhaps? Because the Load Shutters are all South African. Yeah, and this is a new name. I've never seen them before. They may have made Platinum League a few times while we were in rotation, but they're sitting in 3rd place overall right now. They were the halfway, so they were the 5th to go, so they were right in the middle of the fastest of the fast, and 31:10. They could get a podium out here. This South Africa, it looks like mainly South African team from what I'm looking at.
Yeah, this is exciting to tell you the truth. Load shedders are moving up as well with the bullet here. That 31-10 now has them. I mean, again, things can really change here in the final 4K of racing. Let's see if they can nail back anything on that mighty TFC Hurricane team because they're slotting in at second now. So they are bouncing back. 29:53 is the time from RR Sumatran Rhinos. So they have set the benchmark time there at our final check. And it's going to be awfully tough to bring them back. That's for sure. A runaway ride for the Rhinos here today. But Hurricane, they got to worry about the load shedders. Right behind the load shedders there is Z-Sun R Nebula at a 31:12. Nathan, that's only 2 seconds back there. So that basically that's so negligible, that difference. They might as well be tied at that last check.
I think second place is up for grabs even at, well, maybe not second place. TFC Hurricane just came in. They just came in with a 30-39 here, it looks like. So Hurricanes are flying too. We'll see. But that third place may be up for grabs between Cryogen, Z-Sun, and Load Shedders. There's only 8 seconds between there. So third place, I think, is still on the bubble. Even Engulf could bring back that 10 seconds here. So on the back end of this course, if there's a lot of fading and disorganization, things can really change up in this last couple. Okay.
Yeah, without any doubt. I mean, this is where you see those dramatic changes that happen as the teams that have been able to conserve their resources. And I agree. Who is this coming in from, Nathan? I couldn't agree more.
Tom Benyon is saying that there's no place for pineapple on pizza.
Thank you, Tom.
Come on. What, Tom? Whatever.
This will remain one of the most controversial topics in Swift Community Live history, I think. It's not controversial in your opinion, is it?
I mean, look at that. Team Italy Live says, I'll take your pineapple. Oh, at Team Italy Live, I'll take your pineapple on top of mine. See?
And they're Italian.
I mean, look, no pineapple on people. Right. Not like this, not like this. I'm loving the emotes coming through. And we do appreciate all of it as well. Dan Tryhard, appreciate you. And I think he's riding for Z-Sun. He's got a Z-Sun logo on his Twitch there, it looks like. So good to see Z-Sun hanging out at the Twitch chat. And I have been noticing that the Twitch chat has been blowing up a lot more recently. So good to see everybody jumping on in from over on Twitch and growing in that platform for the streams. It does. I want to do a
Z-Sun. I'd love to do a Z-Sun profile.
Let's go Z-Sun. Dan Tryhard, get those guys to write some stuff up as the Rhinos now. Spanhack hammering away Kraskell as well now.
Yeah, this Rhino team is just crushing it. Let's give them a shout out here. Adam James, Andy Spanhawk, Ian Radar, James Kraskell, Sam Peel making up this Rhino team out here. Awesome job today. I feel like I'm missing one rider. Maybe not. I think I got it, actually. Well, good work today, guys. Absolutely crushed it out there. They're going to have to hold on, but Nathan, the way things look right now, they're just motoring here. All the climbing is behind them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to have too much of a problem today on this. Now, I do want to give a heads up to everybody. The ladies have jumped out on course, and they are hammering away. We do have a feature out here with them as well, with the BRT Star Kittens. The BRT Star Kittens we're going to be featuring out here. So if you're looking forward to that, we'll be jumping in with the Vienna for the women's side of things in just a moment as the men's/mix are finishing up. It doesn't look like the Rhinos, though, are going to be taking this down. They were the top team, so they were the last to get out on course. They are at the 20.6 kilometer mark. Pretty much everybody is going to be done ahead of them at this point. We'll jump around a little bit as we watch them finish, but it is going to be a left-hand turn on over toward the finish line in just a moment here for Z-Sun as well as the Load Shedders. As you can see, Load Shedders taking that left-hand turn. They will not go over the right there, little sprint point, but instead it's going to be a left and another left right on into the finish climb. Pretty sharp little climb, and a couple seconds can be lost or gained there, actually, if you do take some momentum in and sprint with the team, Dave.
Yeah, that's really your last spot, isn't it, to make an impact? And if you're in a race like you can see here, that 2-second difference between Load Shedders and Nebula, I mean, that's where you completely and utterly empty the tank. As we're in with Pruitt right now, again, of the Load Shedders team. Time taken off of the fourth rider's wheel, so obviously it's imperative that this group stay together here. At this point, no longer do you have any wiggle room, and this is always motivated motivating, I should say, if you're in Evo's position here, as the Jaffa Cakes have got something to chase, and you can see it's almost like a gravitational pull bringing you into the back of that group. And this is where you do want to be able to, and you can see they're trying to do it exactly. Nice work here. Get the whole team cleanly by, and it almost couldn't come at a worse time as far as this little kicker right before the arch to just make it into a dog's breakfast, as they say.
O'Meara on through
everywhere.
Pruitt, Mort, Fredrickson. I'm loving this sprint to the line between the riders, though. This is the best part. I mean, it's the most suffering, but it's also like now we can just give everything you got
One
to the line,
last.
race your teammates
Yeah.
to the line, and push each other on. So, great job to the Load Shedders finishing up. And it's gonna be the Rhinos and Z Sun. Looks like the Rhinos caught. Did the Rhinos catch Z Sun, or did I miss? No, Z Sun are here. They're about 15 seconds up from them onto their final little bit of a kick. We'll get the results in just a minute here as the riders are finishing up for the Mochas and the men's/mixed race out here today. I don't think there's going to be a lot of change between first and second, but it is that third place that we are looking forward to for some results. The Robins, the Nebula, the Load Shedders, even in golf, probably involved there at those top spots. So that last spot on the podium, it'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out now. As now we do have the Rhinos making their way.
4 teams within 10 seconds of each other. It doesn't get much better than that. And as we said in this format, it's not just about winning. It's doing the best as you can as a unit here. There's the finish line now for the Rhinos. This should be your winning squad. 5 together as well. Even more impressive, Nathan, to see that all of the Rhinos are there. So it's Adam James, Andy Spanak, Ian Radar, James Graskell, and Sam Peel for the Rhinos. Stunner of a ride out there today.
Now we have this TV team coming in, and I did see prior to the race some Drag Vandal Valhalla, the Valhalla Drag Vandal team did get a little bit of encouragement in chat, so I do want to highlight them for sure. Jay Gray is out here as well as Sausage for the TV pack. Fuchs here as well, it looks like, and S Small. So this can be a 4-person team here at this point. It does look like they did drop one off at a certain point out of Denmark. That's going to be Jas, I believe. And so they're going to be making their way to the line. They've got a 32.06, the last checkpoint. Maybe them and Jaffa here still battling to the line as they're waiting for their 4th person to get through this final few meters.
There's an American Viking, Steve Small.
Good call there.
He's the only American Viking I'm aware of.
That's a good point, actually. I'm not sure I've seen a Viking. Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen any other.
I haven't, for sure. And if you haven't, that says a lot, to tell you the truth. So
I don't really remember anybody on the Vikings team that have been in the Americas at all, actually, to be honest. So
it's funny. There's a lot of folks. I think it's probably a fact now that the Vikings came over from Greenland to what would be Nova Scotia or even New England, long before Columbus made his way over to the United States. I think that's accepted fact. Although now that I've said it, I'm sure I'll find out that it's not. But I like to give the Vikings credit. They seem like a rugged bunch to me, and certainly would be up to the task of crossing the northern Atlantic with nothing but wind power, wind and water, and some wool sweaters.
This is quite an interesting name. H. I hate hills and gravel, Lund.
Just letting you know where he stands.
She stands where she stands.
Sorry.
Yeah, we just jumped in with the women. So that's quite the interesting statement there. I mean, not letting anybody guess whatsoever about where she stands on that one. If you were wondering, I hate hills and gravel, Lund. So appreciate the information coming out.
Not everyone loves gravel, that's for sure. It's funny how that it's become quite a movement in the world of cycling, but it is not for everyone. That's why cycling's so awesome. There's all the different disciplines. You can find something that works for you.
Jumping in with the ladies Yeah, give me 1 second, everybody. Apologies on that. We were on the wrong scene, and the ladies are on green here. That's why you were like, "What are you talking about, Nathan?"
I was not
There,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, Nathan, what are you talking about? There's H Lund. There's H Lund hammering away. And the with the name on screen now. So looking through here, it does look like Evo for Peter still in there with a Hunt. It's going to be Hughes, Watson, and then Brooke just trying to hang on. D. Edward now off the back a little bit as well. Evo's trying to weld this back together a little bit here. There's kind of some separation going on at 7.4 kilometers in, though, as they're just getting out on course. We're waiting for the first 8 kilometer checkpoint. And Evo Sparks, is this going to be the Evo Sparks? Were they the fourth to go? So I think they've caught a lot of team members here at this point.
Yeah, this is,
Teams at this point.
again, yeah, for people who are just joining us now for the women's race, we have 23K of racing on a super challenging Knickerbocker course here in the New York world, 344 meters of climbing. It gets really steep. I mean, it's as technical as it gets. I certainly, we saw some great racing coming out of the men's race a little bit earlier, but now as we really get to dig in, it's going to be interesting to see, Nathan, because we saw, I would say, more changing of positionings through the race as far as looking at our split times. And you can see those come in at 8K, 10K, and 16K out here today. We saw some real changes throughout the men's race. I'd expect to see the same thing. Pacing is extremely challenging for our teams out here today on this Knickerbocker course. Teams can start with a maximum of 8, a minimum of 4, and it looks like we've got pretty much the same spectrum here. A few teams starting with 7, a few teams starting with just 4, and some in between.
Moving through the ranks right now, it does look like Bernstein here doing a little bit of weaving and winding up the climb now at 2.0 watts.
Paper boy.
She's got a little bit, got a little
Paper
bit
girl.
of a gap here
Yep.
on Armistead. K for Bowen now, as well as Ackford, and then it's going to be Richards, Plater, Marshall. I mean, this is a solid group right now that we've got going on here. And I do believe I'm just going to make sure this is going to be our featured team out here. Got WCC in the name on here.
They might even have 3 WCC teams out here. Am I reading that correctly?
Not sure on the WCC because
so I'm in the B pen out on Swift Power is where I'm trying to figure this out.
It does look like Easty, Lloyd. I am seeing some WCC behind there as well. Paniels. I mean, so plenty of WCC names there as well.
Wobble. Man, they are coming on strong. Wobble Cycling Club. This is really, really impressive. Looks
Wobble
like a lot of riders.
Huh.
Yeah,
quite
Wobble's
a few BR
awesome.
teams migrated there from the BRT, from what I am seeing here. So that's what's going on there. That's why I was like, I thought we were featuring BRT.
Martin. That explains a lot because it's hard to imagine a brand new team would have this kind of quality and quantity of riders. This is exceptional.
100%. Now we
see Lisa Armistead is on one of the.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You want to pick up on Lisa?
I was just going to say
that'd be great. Go right ahead. That's actually perfect, Dave.
You know, I kind of jumped the gun there, Nathan, as Lisa Armistead is one of the riders here on Wobble Cycling Club that we're going to have a chance to highlight here today. It's just really cool. I saw some people thanking Nathan earlier for, exactly this, getting behind the avatar. And there you can see Lisa right now. She's an Iron Woman. Has done nearly a dozen of the 70.3 Ironman races, which is absolutely awesome. And certainly, Nathan, puts her into that really experienced group of time trialists and someone who would be a cornerstone of any team that she was on. Also a big-time duathlon, duathlon, the different than biathlon, right? She's not skiing and shooting a gun. She is running and cycling. So it certainly is an endurance background that she brings, and it is awesome to see. I'm again excited to be able to highlight riders like Lisa out here. And I think the coolest thing, and Nathan, keep this in mind. Remember Jim with the honey? Well, Lisa loves to knit, and you live in Wisconsin, right? You could always use a new scarf or mittens, I would think.
Always, always.
So
Yeah.
I'm throwing that out there, Lisa.
So she does inpatient rehab at a local hospital, actually, as an occupational therapist. She is married for 11 years, have a 26-year-old son, a daughter-in-law who is from Thailand, and two dogs, Orchid and Tilly. So pretty, obviously, really accomplished all around. As you said, the duathlons, the Ironmans, and pretty cool. I was absolutely loving the features, as always. And really appreciate all the information that's provided by these riders. It does look like they're now, speaking of accomplishments, Lisa, right on into the climb now, the hardest part of this course, and their teammate Bernstein now, um, taking a little bit of a detour, using her UFO skills. It looks like.
Well, we said this is 100 years in the future, so she's probably just bending some time warp continuums, something out there. Looks like everything's copacetic now. Good job, Nathan. This is going to be Melanie Bernstein that we're in with, and she's relatively new to racing, but is a long time runner. And I think we were talking about this the other day. If you have been competitive or even participated in, with any serious nature of running, well, you can certainly handle the mental aspects and the physical aspects of Zwift. So she's done a lot of half marathons and marathons and has excavated human remains. So her nickname from us is going to be the Grave Digger.
The Grave
Digger. She used to be an archaeologist.
She likes gin and knitting too, it sounds like.
Yeah,
so this whole team likes gin and knitting. Like, what is going on?
A little gin, a little knitting, right? Can't go too wrong there. Sounds very British of you, doesn't it? Now I'm wondering, because this team has a lot of riders out of the United Kingdom and then some Americans, because Lisa Armistead is an American. But I am thinking, Melanie, I'm looking right now, Nathan, you might have it in front of you. Where's Melanie from?
Oh, looks like Melanie's from the US of A. It does look like
she's
USA.
from America. All right.
From America.
The gin threw me off, but plenty of Americans love gin. Did it seem British, though? I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
That's Melanie we're talking about.
Yeah, that's Melanie. Now we're jumping on in with Richards, though, here. She's hammering. Trying to keep things together. Nice job by, we're looking at Wenda Richards here. She's a shorter distance sprinter. She put that straight up into her racing experience. No real recognized accomplishment in cycling, but lots of long distance UK-based team running, mostly off-road mountain running events, it sounds like. And I want to thank to her husband, Phil Richards, who is a strength and conditioning coach and puts her through her training plus recommendation before, during, and after training and racing. Absolutely awesome. Great to see you in the family.
Did you see Monty? I don't know if you can see Monty the parrot right now. I think they keep Monty in a different room. He gets too excited cheering on during the Zwifting. But she is a rehomed Monty the gray parrot. But an animal lover is actually something that a lot of our Zwift community shares. As a matter of fact, Nathan, as I've made my rounds meeting a bunch of Zwifters doing our World of Zwift show, it seems like just about every single one, it's either a dog or a cat. Our next guest, V Win, has a very cool cat. But as you saw with Jeff Kabush, he was hanging out with Katarina Nash and a couple of extremely cool Vieselas there. But animals seem to go very nicely with Zwift.
Yeah, and I'm loving that her African gray parrot actually tells her to shut up if he tells him off. Actually, so I've had parrots in the house before,
sass.
and they do have attitude. Yeah. They do have attitude. That's for sure. That is definitely.
Well, you know my opinion of birds. I think birds are like dinosaurs. They are mean. And I was hoping that Monty would be nice, but it sounds like if he's yelling "shut up" at people,
Well,
Sounds
they
like a
just say
bird.
what you say, so I don't know. I'm just gonna leave that one there. They just say whatever you're saying.
you're
So.
you're looking at a mirror, right?
One of our other highlights, this is gonna be Ackford, Jean Ackford, and she's actually been nice enough, and she's had a smile on her face a lot during when I've been watching the video images coming on. Now a little bit of suffering though as they're making their way up and over the top of the climb here, right into that 11-12% or so. As Ackford now really gives in to 12%, needs to close this down. Look at her starting to spin things up, and she's on. Is that going to be it's going to be a tax. I'm not sure if it's a knee or not, but that's a. She's going to be really feeling that 15% grading right now as she looks to try and bring things back together.
That's an impressive bit of machinery there. I love her smile. And Nathan, again, this is Jean Ackford that we're in with right now. She is an athlete that excels in the time trials and hill climb. She's perfect for the course out here today. And you know how, okay, so I honestly, Nathan, I haven't checked, but I'm going to tell you that she must be from the United Kingdom, because she says that her partner of 21 years and fellow, and here's the key word, turbo fanatic Jude is who she wanted to shout out. So big shout out to Jude, but also anyone who says turbo has to be British.
Yeah, usually that is a British term for the trainers for sure. Ackford trying to get back on terms right now. It's right there. You can see it, but she has to connect right now because it's going to roll away from her. 2 watts per kilogram, 1.7. It looks like it's going to happen. Good on her and the rest of this WCC team. Super solid effort
Ackford, a human wattage cottage right now. She is dimming the power grid there. Right now, lights are flickering on and off in Metro London as she has tapped into the grid. That's awesome, Jean. She got on, Nathan. Look at that. That's all heart.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Blazing Stars, just so everybody knows. Blazing Stars is who we are looking at here, and the WCC team on the right-hand side there. Blazing Stars is what they're being called, though, on the list here. So they're currently sitting with a 16:33 at that 8-kilometer mark. Now over the top, Evo Sparks do take over the 22:57 for the first ones through the 10-kilometer mark. Check at this point. So thanks to Martin for providing that information for us.
Nathan, speaking of Norwegians, did Carrie Ann check in with the camera today?
There she is.
Oh, right on. Racing out of Norway. The Arctic Express. This is someone who has a tremendous amount of experience road racing.
She just gave us a little, hey, with her water bottle. No big deal. The Norwegian hammering away.
The Norwegian machine. Right there. That's a nice work ethic. Just hammering along. I love this team. Great call, Nathan, on bringing this group of women on board here. So again, this is one of our Norwegians. She's a preschool teacher. I think that's one of those noble. That's a great word for it. A noble profession, right, Nathan? As a father yourself, those adults that spend time with our kids that help shape the rest of their lives at that age, preschool age. Boy, having good people around makes such a big difference.
Definitely does. Definitely a awesome addition to the community. Not just addition, but huge assets and lots of love and care that goes into each one of the kids, the formation of their lives for sure, their identity, who they are, and what they know. So it's not just about the information and knowledge that comes through, though. The
respect for other people
that they
so much is learned.
Model for them. So absolutely. Road racer now is addicted to Zwift. I'm seeing here.
Right up your alley.
Participate in local races in Norway. Going to participate in Tour de Ford experience in August. Pretty cool to see. And if you're interested in Norwegian folk dance and folk music, been dancing her whole life. Also does play the accordion. I'd like to see. Why don't we jump? We need to get an example of that, right? Like off the bike and go get the accordion. That's what we need.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tap into. So I don't know if I've told you this or not, Nathan, but when I was a kid, I lived in Norway for a couple of years, probably like 1974, 75, right in there. And Norwegian folk dance and folk music. It is a huge part of Scandinavian culture, and I am wondering if Moomin Trolls is something that Carrie Ann is familiar with. The old Moomin Trolls was a thing that I remember from that time. Um, like sort of like in line with like 70s Norwegian anime, right? Like
I think I've actually heard of this
uh,
for some reason. Maybe it was
it's
from you
sort of
though.
a
Might have been
I
from
don't
you.
know. I don't think I've brought it up. I brought up Norway before, but I don't know if I've brought that up. But at any rate, um, summertime, summer nights in Norway, right? It's almost like Alaska in that the sun barely sets. Like you can read a newspaper outside at 11 o'clock at night. That's how much sun you have, and it couldn't be any more beautiful with the wildflowers and it's just like when a sunny day in Seattle, when you contrast it to all the rainy days. Well, the same thing there when you're up in the, near the Arctic Circle. When you have a beautiful day, boy, does it stand out. Well, having a beautiful ride is going to be the Rave C Euro team here, Farmas and company. This looks like they are crushing it right now, Nathan. Speaking of
They were
Northern
just at
Europe,
the top a second ago, but it does look like Kirchner, Viana Latte are going to take over the top spot for a moment. But 13.4 in. Good to see as always. Whenever we jump in with rave, we got to bring in the rave music, and it does look like
queued
Titus
up
in here.
is
No, Fran Bambers is on here. It looks like Colby, Farmas, and Savita all still hanging in here. Tyson as well. Don't can't forget to mention they're very international crowd here. It looks like though
yeah.
today with the rave team, German, Danish, American, and Belgium all hammering away.
It looks like a fun team to hang out with, doesn't it? Like on a Friday night in Brussels. It looks like this is where it'd be happening. Andrea, Fran, Lisbeth, Monica, Patricia, Sarah, and Tiffany cruising right now. So uh, this is the Rave APAC team. So taking a look at these splits, they're coming in. And Nathan, wow, 2019 for Kirkmeyer Vienna Latte, but infamous in Infernos, excuse me. The infamous Infernos. That's how bad my eyes are. The Infernos with a 22-22 is only 3 seconds back. 6 seconds behind them is Vienna Latte 2. So in a Vienna Latte sandwich are the Infernos. This is going to be exceptional racing from here on in. That's the 10K check. But Nathan, to be honest, that 10K check is almost the halfway point when you look at all the climbing that you've got stacked up early out here on Knickerbocker. 23 kilometers of racing, but these teams are already really through the midpoint now.
Yeah, and at the midpoint, we do need to acknowledge the pineapple on
Oh,
Pizza
good
Rock.
grief.
I appreciate you there, DL.
We're even
And
then on votes, although I'm weighing the Italian votes as 2 votes for each one because they're a nation that should know more about pizza.
wait a second, I thought Chicago. No, come on.
That's actually, I don't think pizza was invented. It was invented in America, I think. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about an Italian pizza, though.
We're gonna
Kirkmeyer
get
Vienna
all
Latte.
kinds of corrections all over the place now. Wait, what? Huh? Martin. Oh, Martin's really coming in on this one. I'm gonna just let Martin speak. I'm just gonna let Martin speak.
Bring him in.
Martin, here we go, Martin. You're gonna grab your headset. I think he's got the wrong camera for his audio actually right now because it's I was hearing all kinds of clicking earlier. You'll have to
He was
reconnect,
frantically
Martin.
clicking.
You'll have to reconnect if he's gonna put his other headset on. But
For those,
let us know in chat. I'll even put a vote in, maybe over on the Facebook. But pineapple
I think so.
on pizza, and where was pizza made? Like, where's pizza originate? Now everybody's Googling like crazy. Nobody wants to be wrong, so they're all going to just be Googling.
My answer
like
is
crazy.
New York City without Googling. But, Nathan, I would like to get our colleagues' votes as well, both Kate and Anna. I'd like to know what they think. They're down in New Zealand and Australia, respectively. But actually, Kate, giving her a shout out, has been busy doing the Tour de France coverage. And with the announcement, Nathan, I thought this was awesome, to tell you the truth. That Tour de France avec Zwift for the women's Tour de France in 2022, and Australian Broadcasting Network (SBS) has announced that they're going to cover that full on. They're going to give that the A treatment, and that's great news for cycling, to tell you the truth, to see that women's race is going to start receiving the same kind of coverage as the men's tour. And I certainly hope that our friend Kate Bates gets to do that coverage as well, because she's been doing the men's coverage. So good on you, Kate Bates and Anna Russell. I'm going to guess Anna Russell hates pineapple on pizza. So.
Oh, you are 100% right. She said that savory and sweet.
Disgusting.
What are you talking about? She was very against it. Which
upset
I just
even.
was like
repulsed.
No, for real. And I just don't get it. Like, don't you mix like dark chocolate and wine? Like, I mean, what? I don't know.
Me.
What? Really?
That just sounds horrible to me. That actually sounds disgusting
to me. Chat, help me out here. I mean, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do with myself at this point.
You're upset.
I'm just, the broadcast is ending, turning it off. Like, oh man.
Well, let me bring this back around, Nathan, because in 1 year I realized this Faulkner is not Kristen Faulkner, and let me identify from the Drafting Dinos UK, because this is a great team here, and exactly which Faulkner I have in front of me. I apologize. But I thought it was an amazing story that Kristen Faulkner, who joined us on Zwift quite a bit this year, in one season, she went from basically racing in Central Park for fun to almost making the American Olympic team. Quite a story. And I mean, how many times did we get to watch her race, Nathan? Quite a few. I remember all the way back to that Dave Jordan Classic that we did over a year ago. She was very active on Zwift before. It's Nikki Faulkner that I want to shout out right now, however, out of the United Kingdom and part of the Drafting Dinos team. This is WTRL's home squad: Heather Clark, Julie Hunter, Kaz M., Natalie Long, the aforementioned Nikki Faulkner, who we've got on screen, and Suzanne Batagay, along with Tara Hostetler. So good job, ladies.
A little bit off the front here. Putting a hurt locker now for her teammates at this point. If they can weld it back together.
We'll try to weld this back together.
Yeah. Now I do have Martin on board here. Martin? All right.
Hello.
He's going to try and even things out here a little bit for us. I mean, the
First,
reality
the pizza.
Is, yeah.
Oh, no, what are you doing? You're taking all the credit. Taking all the credit away from the Italian.
Kind of.
No, as far as
so are you disagreeing?
With the pizza. I know a little bit about this from watching Strange TV. If you've ever heard of, is it Fred Gino and I remember this guy's name? Fred Gino and who? Gordon, Gino, and Fred. So they're basically the three big chefs. Well, two big chefs and a maitre d' who travel places, and they went to Gino's home country of Italy. And they went to Naples and explained the story of pizza.
Yeah.
And it's when Italy unified back in the mid 1800s, I believe. The king and the queen at the time went to visit Naples as part of their unification tour, and the pizza was invented. I believe it was just a margarita
fair play.
pizza that was invented.
Of course.
But I'm going to
sign
up
us the history level of all pizza of all
that sounds authentic.
Like, oh my goodness. And we've even got
well researched.
We've even got a little bit of Llama Stay in the background letting us know what's going on as well. So appreciate the jump in there from Aaron. Yeah, chiming in. Not yelling at her teammates at the moment, but
not yet.
But no, so
pineapple on pizza? Pineapple on pizza? Wine and chocolate? Wine and chocolate? I mean, come on.
Anything goes on pizza. Absolutely anything goes on pizza. Do what you want. I quite like it. I believe that's quite traditional for Italy as well.
There we go. We got a vote.
Wow. Very, very. So Martin is from England, but very Canadian answer. Do what you want. Holy cow.
Now, I brought it up, though. Wine and chocolate, and then we'll get back into the racing. Yes? No?
Oh, wine with anything. Chocolate with anything, but not
so pizza with anything, wine with anything.
I quite like Nutella on pizza dough. That goes down well as well.
Ooh, but there we go.
In some ways, explain with Anna's agreement there. Salt and sweet do not go together. This salty chocolate, no thanks.
Salt caramel.
What is Aaron's opinion on that one? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to
Aaron,
know.
Aaron likes chocolate, salty chocolate.
Yep, there we
Any
go.
kind of weird
2
bit.
and 2. Okay, I'm with Aaron on that one. All right, back into the racing. Thanks, Martin. I appreciate you bringing all of the awesome knowledge in from WTRL. Did you know that they not only handle data, but they let you know that pineapple does go on pizza as well? So
Again,
oh.
an opinion. An opinion.
It is an opinion. It is.
So Nathan, it looks like you
I don't know.
dialed up.
Is WTRL is anything WTRL does just an opinion? I don't know if I'm going to sign off on that one.
A pizza being from Naples was not an opinion. That sounded like a fact. I'm
That
willing
did,
to.
that did.
Yeah, I'm willing to recognize, but everything else sounded opinion based to me. But this is Vienna Latte that we're in with the VL1 squad. So these ladies living up to their name, although VL2 is right behind them. But this is Claudia Kreppel that we're looking at right now. Let's see. So again, with the two different teams here, she's got Astrid Bonsek riding with her. Also on the one edition is Britta Krusmal, Karina Wildgruber, Claudia, I mentioned just a moment ago, Ella Kroll. I apologize if I miss anyone here because Kirkmeyer is another one of these teams, Nathan, much like Cryo or Z-Sun, where there will be multiple teams, even in the same race, flying the same banner.
This is a well-oiled team. Look at how they're rolling together.
They
here.
sure are.
They have not been separated at all. They have been really taking their pulls perfectly here. You haven't really seen that, as you see the dog's breakfast at all. It hasn't been all over the course.
Yeah,
They've
no.
really kept the pack together at a steady pace through here. And you can see it paying off with the time they've got through here. This is Vienna Latte 1, KC, all the German flags, smashing this final other side of Harlem Hill right now. So big climb, last climb of the day before they head on over toward the essentially it's a 180 at this point to turn around and head back toward the finish banner, but they'll be taking a right in just a moment here rather than doing the left to go around the reservoir on the right-hand side. Instead, they're going to go around the right-hand side of the reservoir and back around toward the sprint, left-hand turn, and into the climb.
We went and filmed one of the editions of Dave Towle Meets at Central Park with Christina Grossman, and those rocks that they just went past there, Nathan, are absolutely incredible. I know that you spent
They're actually
as much
there?
time as anyone. Oh, yeah. Even more impressive in person than what you see there. This world, Nathan, I know you've ridden here just hundreds and hundreds of hours, and it is so bizarre to be actually in the real place, especially like with Christina Grossman, we've watched her race many times out in Central Park. It's really how it blurs that line between the virtual and the real. But one thing that's not blurred is how good Kirkmeyer is. There are hundreds of folks, and they're mostly Germans, Austrians, a few Swiss on this team, but they take their craft seriously. And there's not a Kirkmeyer team out there that doesn't operate at a really high level. That's what we're witnessing right now. Is a 28:50 is the fastest time by a long shot there at the final check before the finish, coming in at 16K. So a 28:50. I saw Stefan Kirkmeyer the other day posting some Strava data that was exceptional, and it's nice to see that this team continues to thrive. 28:50 the time, 31:12 for the Infernos there, and Nathan, they're getting some separation there because things are changing. Rave C Euro, who we were just with, they've moved up into third as Vienna Latte 2s into fourth at this point. Z-Sun, our Hydra, rounding out our top five as we're bringing it home.
Yeah, it does look like we do have some differences here in the back end of the race here. Evo Sparks have fallen down the leaderboard a tad. Still battling.
A little more changing.
Yeah,
a little more, Nathan, than we normally see.
I think that the climb in the middle of it all, I think there was a lot of effort put in up front, and then maybe things got a little bit separated out. If you don't keep it together over the climb, if you descend without enough bodies there, it can just be game over with how much you have to wait. So it can be a very, very technical course when it comes to TTT. We did see, I want to give a shout out to WCCC. They kept, after Vienna Latte won, the KC team came by them. They kept them within striking distance there for a moment. We really saw a huge effort coming in from WCC, but they got to weld it back together. There's 4 together now. They are going to drop off Ackford now at this point. So solid ride by Ackford to make it a part of the team here. But they do need this last rider, and this is going to be Carrie Ann. She's going to jump back on and pull
Our
right
Norwegian
on through.
friend.
Yeah, 30 kilometers per hour. So solid effort from her. But KC now continue on with their dominating effort here out here today. Going back, we're in with DK as well as Peniels. Is this also another WCC team? It looks like. And we had a couple of WCC teams out here again, just so everybody knows. So we'll see if we can figure out which one this is going to be. Probably the Infernos, I'm guessing.
So
Guessing.
Wobble Cycling. Serpies we've got right in front of us. We'll get all of that updated here. It's an interesting time of the year, but this is Needham that we're with. And I'm just looking to see, do they have a rider right in front of them as well, or is it this 4th rider here that's rejoining? And I think that's the case. So getting 4. Oh, they do. I'm not sure if that's a teammate or not, just up course.
Lloyd right here. The teammate up course is going to be Ackford from the other WCC team. So that's why the confusion is there. She did get dropped off. Yeah. So coming back together here, it looks like with 4, all in the free speed kit. Moving back to the Z-Sun, though, and this is going to be the Hydras. I think the only Z-Sun team out on course, and they're currently sitting in 5th, trying to hold on to their 5th. I think they've got a pretty good padding on either side, though. I don't think Hydras are going to be caught or catch the Kirchner Vienna Lattes. You never know, especially on the back end of this course.
Things really stabilized, though, into the final 3K. There's a 10 meters of climbing left after you go past 20K out here. So that's not a lot, to tell you the truth, but there are a few seconds that can be gained or lost. We talked about that earlier. But right now, Z-Sun just needs to keep things together, and it looks like they have done that. 5 riders together here, so let's just bring it on home. Pick up the pace a little bit.
Dino's right behind them. UK trying to chase things down. Looks like they're going to do so, perhaps. I wonder if they were caught by the Z-Sun, though. The Drafting Dinos UK 2
may have been.
Is who that is, because they are currently at a 34-28. So they were caught by this Z-Sun team and are just trying to hold on to as best they possibly can. That's going to be the team with Faulkner and Long that we were talking about back in here, trying to get back onto. Wow, look at this 3.1 watts per kilogram. Big effort coming in here to try and get across the line altogether. But this is all over the course. And that may be why we're seeing the times that we did just a moment ago. From perhaps some dropouts or just having a rough time keeping things together?
It's the kind of course, Nathan, where if your team collectively is on a good day, it is awesome. But if you have a rider or two who are struggling, it really it's like that anchor that just really makes it tough for the entire team to get a result. And it looks to me like Kirchner Vienna Latte won. They were absolutely firing on all cylinders out here today. This is going to be the VL2 team, and they're fighting for, right now, a spot on the podium. They're only, at that last check, 9 seconds out. So it's not unrealistic if they can put together a good back end of this race from that final split on. Let's see if they're going to charge their way back up into the bronze medal spot. I think the Infernos look like they should be in pretty good shape for the silver medal out here today. But this is the real battle here, Nathan. The Vienna Latte 2s are coming for Rave C Euro.
199 beats per minute. Nicole's not messing around one bit. Anika, Dominique as well, Manuela. I mean, this is a huge effort here from this German team right now as Anika pulls through at 2.5, but it's 31 kilometers per hour. And, definitely looking, one thing I want to highlight here, 11 teams, 10 showing up on the day, but we're in the middle of, this is the largest participation right here amongst the women. How awesome is that?
Well, it is incredibly awesome. And you know what my thought there is, Nathan? These are the women that have really bought into the community concept, just what you were talking about at the start of the show. I couldn't have agreed more as far as that sense of belonging, that sense of being reliable, being there for your teammates, and the fact that, let's be honest, they enjoy each other's company. It's a supportive group. And, you don't want to let your team down, and you kind of like the energy you get from the team every week. And who wants to shut that down? Not me.
100%, 100%. Yeah, good point there, Dave. I just want to highlight real quick as they come across the line. Look at this effort. Look at this
Wow.
effort from Carrie Ann. Just
Carrie Ann.
smashing it
What a
across the line
beast.
there.
They're
Huge
done.
effort there. They're done and dusted. We'll keep on working our way
You know how
back.
good
I
she
just saw
feels
that out
right
in the corner of
now?
my eye, and I was like, oh, man.
Yeah. Thanks
Look,
for
she's
finding
chatting
that,
on
Nathan.
Discord. She's chatting a little bit, saying, hey, this and that. I mean, just look at the effort that was
But-
put in there. Like, you get an idea there, that expression that you just saw of how much has gone into this week in and week out from these athletes.
Nathan, the best feeling in the world, so many people struggle with addiction issues or whatever it might be, is exactly what Z-Sun R is going to have right now. You set out with a big goal. You knew it was going to hurt. You showed courage. You did it. And that right there is what Zwift is all about. Done and dusted. Goal accomplished. You don't have to win a
100%.
bike race to win at life today. I'll say that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be the first over the line to be making big changes in your life.
Loving what we're seeing here, and the participation in this group is absolutely awesome to see. Cannot highlight that enough. I think some of the largest participation across the WTRL on the week. Want to actually see if Martin
think it's
can give
my
us some
favorite
numbers
group.
on that. You know, I would love to see if as we wait for results, we'll see if Martin can pull up some numbers for us and let us know, is this crew amongst the women's participation some of the highest numbers that we see? I have a feeling it's going to be the lattes and the Viennas that are going to be the higher participation numbers for sure. And as you said, because of that community feel that comes to it and about the showing up and being a part of that team and the additions that you can make to it. Nicole now making her way to the line here. This is going to be VL2. They're trying to get onto the podium. We'll see if Rave C Euro was able to hold them off or not. It was a 9-second difference before this. This last kick to the line could still be it, but they need the fourth rider. It's actually up to, is it up to Dominique? Is that who we're going to be waiting for? Or is there another rider behind here? Interesting to see.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
a
think
good
it's gonna be
example
Dominique
there.
here.
Nathan, great example there of how this all works, though, is that time for those two riders that went over the line first. Well, the clock doesn't stop until the fourth rider finishes for the team. We'll see. You know, Rave C Euro didn't look like they were fading the last time we checked in on them, so it's going to be very close. Did Kirkmeyer Vienna Latte 2 do enough to take the bronze medal out here today? Nathan, just final time to revisit what you were talking about. I think that this category and the spirit that we see with these women and the way that they participate so well and are so helpful with trying to tell their backstories, I think this is my favorite category, to tell you the truth. Just the sense of community, that's really what we've been trying to generate. And I feel like it has really landed here.
100%. And having this kind of participation in the middle of summer is I mean, it's just absolutely awesome. We see Longmate here, Williams, Birch, and then it's going to be Watt here from the ART team. Always loving the Adam Racing team. This is Zwifterians to the line. They were the first ones out on course, and they're coming in at the last checkpoint with a solid 39:47 as they finish up their race. Now, I'm going to go ahead and wait for some of our results to come on in. I got to update the results board, I think, a little bit too. Hopefully, we will have all of the things for what's happening next week, because we do have something special next week, actually, for the first time ever. We're going to be out on McCurry Islands, actually. So that'll be really
That's
interesting.
awesome.
Super awesome. Now,
Have
bring
you
in Martin.
raced there yet?
I've not raced there yet. I've been outside a lot. I am one of the not people who are usually last summer and the summer before I was on Zwift all the time still. Continue. Now that I am racing outdoors again, I need to be outside on the bike a little bit more, I mean, especially as a mountain biker, the handling skills and things. I mean, I still do some Zwift sessions for sure. When like tonight I'll do a Zwift session because the kiddos are here. And so we're going to do some dad life. So we're going to do some dirt training, dad inside riding trainers. But
hey, I got to say, dad life looks like it's going quite well outdoors as well, with the kids all out there racing with you. That has to do a heart good. I saw your daughter getting up on a podium the other day, showing some real courage. So, and remembering too, last year at this time, we were pretty much in lockdown. So I don't think too many people were getting out. And of course, you've got the kids around, and so things have changed. I'm glad you're getting outside. And I think that was sort of the point, wasn't it, Nathan, a while ago? Like all of this Zwift fitness, you've got it in the bank. Go enjoy it. Go show some people what your rear wheel looks like at a bike race. You'll love it. And that time on Zwift, it paid off.
Yeah, I gotta say, honestly, the best fitness in my life, and Zwift, I think, was a huge part of it. Obviously, I mean, some of my best results came after getting on Zwift. Before I took a little bit of a break, and now coming back, I'm like, whoa! Like all of that Zwift is really, really paying off. So that's for sure. Martin, do you want to give us some numbers here on the D and the C comparatively? Like, would you say, Martin, that this community, this part of the WTRL community and the racing is one of the larger sectors of it? And any ideas why that might be? I think you've told me it has been in the past too.
Just hang on a minute, 2 secs.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I think he's waiting on.
That's a fantastic question, though, because in racing, Nathan, we focus so much, not us at Zwift Community Live in particular, but racing focuses on the very top of the pyramid so much. But there's this point, a sweet spot where, and I think that's what we've kind of identified today, is the sweet spot might be right here with these women. Martin?
Hey, I'm just furiously punching away to try and pull up some numbers. In terms of the Vienna and the Vienna alone category, our largest event was number 95, so not that long ago. But this today is up there. I'll have some more numbers a bit later on in terms of total numbers of men, women, all that kind of stuff, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, no,
yeah, just
fine.
from your
That's
perspective.
totally just wondering from your perspective as well. I mean, it does seem like a lot of times this category is one of the highest participation, and
the fact
from a Zwift standpoint, though, from they are Zwifters rather than we see this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the women's side of the TTT we've seen growing phenomenally. I think some of that's got more to do with the social preferences as well. I think the girls very much enjoy riding together, whether that's riding or racing. I think the women racing on bikes is probably less enjoyable as an individual. That's a very generalized statement. It is coming from a man, so apologies if anybody's wanted to shout at me on that front. But no, just looking in terms of the numbers, the TTT for sure. Alongside ZRL, since it had its women's specific class categories as well.
So I'd just like to make the point, Martin, thank you, that I think what Martin said is exactly right, that when you go to an in real life bike race as a single woman or without a support group around you, it's intimidating. There's not a lot of people looking out for your back and you feel pretty exposed, whereas this is exactly the opposite. You're part of a community. It feels much safer. It's much more fun. You've got people with shared experiences. And again, I mean, I realize this is coming from another man, but I think that's really my perspective on it, is that this is just more fun, more welcoming. And at the end of the day, it's something that you want to do rather than something where you go and you just feel like a fish out of water.
Yeah, maybe this is a good topic. We'll try and bring in some interviews on that point. We need some more inside information there, and on
from someone that isn't us.
Somebody who isn't us.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Someone who isn't us. I'm going to go ahead and bring in some results here for the men's first. They went out on the course first, and it is going to be in the Dopios. The Cryogen Kestrels take it down with a 30. Wow, this is a fast course out here today. A 30.08, a 30.44 for Evo Warriors. And then there's the Z-Sun Hercules that take it down in the Dopios. That's the top squad, the 5.0 pluses for the men's side of things. And then it's going to be Beast Mode. Wow, at the top there, Dave.
Wow. Nice to see Beast Mode powered by Rose with a 30.59. Holy cow. I didn't think anyone would come close to a time that quick out here on Knickerbocker. Way to go, Beast Mode. Dirt Diggler with a 13.91. disadvantage, but that's awfully close for Dirt Diggler racing out of time zone 1. So that beast mode time was out of zone 7, but here we go. Our fastest time out of our Platinum League today is Cryogen Goals, and they're going to be our third fastest time up to this point today. There are a few teams left to race around the globe. So Evo Espresso in fourth fastest time, second in our Platinum League. Fifth fastest time is INC Euro Aliens 2. Sixth, TSC Waffles. INC UFC 7th, Valhalla Molnir in 8th, Eat Dirt in 9th, and TMR Broccoli in 10th. I can't imagine a less popular name than broccoli except cauliflower.
I love broccoli. Come on now. We're really on the opposite spectrums here. Here we go. Coming out there. Kirchner Frappe won 31.51 for first place in the Frappes. And it's going to be the Atom Racing Team. Photons shooting lasers. Pew pew at a 7.99 back at 31.59. The Cryogen Piwaka Waka Watts are out there at a 32.27.36 seconds back. It's the Outsiders. They're hanging out at a solid 32.40 in fourth place. And then it's going to be Team CLS B52s at fifth. It's going to be R3R ACDC. Now, between those two bands, I mean, B52s or AC. I mean, they're right up against each other there. They really are.
Have to
I mean,
go
both
to
in
a
real
live
life.
concert.
And
Right.
both, I mean,
I would probably choose ACDC just for the cultural experience. Not a huge B-52s fan. I don't dislike them.
I mean, Love Shack is the only thing that really comes to life.
Yeah, they're fine.
So, so I'll go, ACDC win, but they didn't get fifth. So, CLS, you just barely got the B-52s on top there. Evo Warlords for seventh. It's going to be Z-Sun Saturn for eighth. Evo Vortex 1, followed by a team I've never seen before, the Animals. They just said forget the herd altogether, and they're just going to go animals, like all animals.
Collective.
We are all of the animals.
They're like kingdom, phylum, we're all of it. I'm glad we finally were able to agree on something today with AC/DC. It was getting to be quite contentious with the pizza talk and then into broccoli. I didn't realize you were such a broccoli lover, but now I
got so
know.
much broccoli in the fridge right now. Oh my gosh.
I tell you what, if I ever saw broccoli in my fridge, I would freak out because I'd known someone had broken into my condo. Team Type 1 Lancettes, 35.25 is the fast time there in our lattes. TFC Lancaster with second place or second fastest time. These are all out of the Platinum League. You can see they're only 12 seconds back and how close it was. As Vikings Valhalla end up with the bronze medal. Again, Platinum League, third fastest time. It's RR Woolly Rhinos in with that fourth fastest time. And then we go to Zone 2 for ZID Delta in fifth. Tugas Nada, sixth. Kirkmeyer Latte, threes. Seventh fastest time. Again, more of our Platinum League squads here. Valhalla Rhino in eighth. Ninth fastest time is Cryogen Turns and Cryogen Emus with the 10th fastest time so far today.
And in the Mochas is what we were watching. It's the Sumatra Rhinos that take it down with TFC Hurricane coming in for second. Z-Sun Nebula in third. The TBR Renegades. Load Shutters, the South African team, for fifth. Good to see them making a presence in the Platinum.
Yeah.
Cryogen Robbins there coming on through for sixth. Valhalla Dragon Vandal in for seventh. Engulf in eighth. Eater Trois, followed up by Evo Flux Jaffa in 10th. One of our featured teams out there today. And I think they're going to be back even stronger next week from what we're hearing. So good job to everybody in the Mochas. And then participation going up, it looks like, in and amongst the Vienna Espressos. It's Jet Ladies, though, at the top. Interesting enough to see. We've got no C-Star Race Like a Girl, though, taking a week off.
Well, the Jet Ladies step up with a 36.32. Very fast time to take out of Zone 2 there for our fastest time so far today. Our fastest in Platinum League was Toyota Cryo RDT. Absolutely love seeing that Toyota sponsorship for our friends at Cryo RDT. And it's going to be the NZBRO Cheese Rollers. Third fastest time up to this point. You can see coming from left, right, center as far as the zones today, as that's zone 8 represented. I don't know that I've seen 3 different zones making up our top 3 before. I'm sure it's happened, Nathan, but that's an interesting day. TSC Vixen there in 4th, BBB 5th fastest time, and then B2B, our 6th fastest time in our Vienna Espressos. Great racing out there.
And in with the Vienna Frappes, Sox for Watts, Odd Sox take it down, followed by Crush Pod. Aeodium Bravas in 3rd. Evo Comets in 4th. NZ Bro Pavlovas in 5th. This NZ Bro team, they're making a splash. Watch out for them. I think we're going to see a lot more of them in the coming months. HDR Amazons followed up by Tugas Brisas in 4-7.
Are they out of New Zealand? Or am I reading too much into that? They are, okay.
That is definitely, yes. Good. And Anna actually was one that pointed out, watch out for them. She was the one that pointed out, watch out for them. And they made a splash at the Classics, actually, this past week.
Anna has me now at the point where I don't put on socks without thinking, would she approve or not? So I listen to what Anna Russell has to say. She carries a lot of clout. Let's look at our Vienna lattes here. Crush Pod 2 with a 39.15. That's wicked fast to take the cake in the Platinum League here today, and that probably holds on for our fastest time of the day as well. You can see it was close though. Z-Sun R Pluto in for the 2nd fastest time, only 8.5 back seconds, that is. Evo Meteors 3rd fastest time. Again, all these times coming out of Platinum League is Z Scott Alba in 4th, Atom Racing Team Electrons 5th, the Rockies in 6th, Tugas Z Ferrofias. That's out of zone 5 for the 7th fastest time, and Rav CC 8th fastest time out of zone 7. That's your Vienna lattes here on the 117th consecutive WTRL Team Time Trial Week.
And in with our featured class today, it's going to be the Kirchner Vienna lattes. We watched them walk away with this one. It's all PL all the way down to 7th, actually. Cool to see. That's the BRT. Inferno Kittens take down 2nd place. Huge ride from them. Rave C Euro coming in for 3rd. That is a huge change up from what we saw in the standings actually coming in. So a lot of amazing riding coming on in here through for Rave C, as well as Kirchner Vienna Latte, almost able to make it happen, but have to settle for 4th. Z-Sun Hydra for 5th. Evo Sparks for 6th. Evo Stars at 7th. WTRL Drafting Dinos UK for 8th. BRT Star Kittens, that is the featured team today. Shout out to them, and thanks a lot for the cams as well as all the information on who they are behind the avatar. And then it's Vegan Fireflies coming on in for that 10th place. Next week, we are heading over to McCurry Islands for the first place. Umezi Marine Day in McCurry. Here we come. Flatland Loop. Total distance 39.2 kilometers, 24.4 miles. Visit WTRL.racing to register your team. Registration closes 8 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. We are on Doppio Espresso Vienna Espresso, the fastest of the fast. For the first time out there, it's going to be exciting. Number 118. Loving that image there from, nice job.
Well, Martin was letting me know that Marine Day is a national holiday in Japan to celebrate the ocean and obviously everything that goes with that and how important that is for our lives. So I think that's extremely cool. It all ties together, doesn't it, to have Marine Day and being on McCurry next week. And thank you, Martin, for the heads up.
Yeah, so make sure to go and register up for that. Last thing. Next week, we are out on the Apple Lap, July 20th for the Zwift Classics. Make sure to mark your calendars for each one of these. And there's also some new things in game that are going to be released pretty soon here. I'm not sure if the information is... Oh, yeah, I'm going to be quiet here for a moment. Maybe we'll wait until next week to get that info out. But I do believe that there's an update coming pretty quickly here.
They're smart enough to not tell me, Nathan.
I got to be careful.
They know not
I got to
to
be careful here. But watch
they
out
won't
for
tell me what
dropping.
Yeah, always something coming. I love that about Zwift. Always something to be excited for. And on our side of things as well, I know that we're really starting to feel that energy ramping up for a lot of great racing. But, to all our racers that were out here today, you're the salt of the earth as far as the WTRL goes. It was nice to see so many folks out racing here in the middle of the summer. So keep up the pressure, folks. Good job.
Yeah, and it will be coming, but it's not. Just wait a couple hours, everybody. Watch out. Set your clocks a couple hours from now. Watch out for a drop. So, and we'll see you guys though.
So now for the next 2 hours, I'm just going to be pacing around nervously.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week for the classics. We'll be on the New Zealand as well as the full breadth of the European marathon of a stream that we do. And make sure to sign up before next week's WTRL TT from Mercury Islands. As always, everybody, great job. Head over to WTRL.racing for the results and ride on.